Радвам се да се срещнем тук, уверявам ви, и като домакин бих искал да се обърна към всички вас и да ви споделя, че високо оценявам вашият интерес и вашата съпричастност към днешното събитие и за това, разбира се, като искрено ви благодаря, ви приветствам с българското добре дошли.
За мен е чест да бъда днес с вас на този престижен форум. Благодаря на всички, че уважавате настоящата конференция и че сме всички заедно тук в България, в рамките на българското председателство, за да споделите вашият опит и да разкажете за новите моменти, проблеми и идеи, които стоят пред развитието на интелектуалната собственост на Европа и на света.
Искам да благодаря за присъствието на всички в този форум, защото той е знаков и защото отваря една изключително важна тема – индустриалната собственост днес и утре. Искам специално да благодаря на ръководителите на Световната организация за интелектуална собственост, на Европейското патентно ведомство, на Службата на Европейския съюз за интелектуална собственост за честта, което ни оказаха със своето присъствие на първото българско европредседателство.
It's really a great pleasure for me personally and for the World Intellectual Property Organization to be associated with this event in this beautiful Palace of Culture, addressing intellectual property, industrial property rather, today and tomorrow. I should like to take this opportunity to thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, for all of the support of Bulgaria for the World Intellectual Property Organization. We deeply appreciate the constructive engagement of Bulgaria in WIPO and its commitment to finding multilateral solutions. So thank you very much. Bulgaria is an outperformer, we call an outperformer, on the Global Innovation Index. It outperforms countries with similar size and of a similar income group. So congratulations also on all of the achievements of Bulgaria, especially in the course of these last 20 years.
First thing I would like to underline is that we are very pleased, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, that during your EU presidency you have chosen to dedicate one of the important events of this presidency to the IP issues. I see that in itself it's a sign of the importance and the priority you are given to IP, and this is, in my view, extremely positive. We have excellent relations with Bulgaria and the Bulgarian Patent Office. Bulgaria has joined the EPO more than 15 years ago now. It was 5 years before you joined the EU, and during those 15 years we have developed an excellent cooperation with you, and we are thankful for that. Our cooperation is built on the idea that in Europe we have a two-tier system. We have a granting authority for patents in a centralized way, and we have the national offices whose task and ambition is to develop the innovation capacity of their economy, and we are trying to develop both levels at the same side through training, through sharing of IT tools, through sharing of activities, patent awareness activities. I think this is extremely important, and especially in a country like Bulgaria, where your economy is mainly based on SMEs, and we know that our common goal is to help SMEs to accede in a more efficient way to the IP in order for them to use more efficiently the IP tools to develop their competitiveness and to, at the end of the day, increase our job capacity in Europe.
We are living in a fast-changing, complex and interconnected world in which intellectual property and industrial property rights are important topics for policymakers, and as Francis had said, it's becoming more and more complicated. Innovation, after all, is the smart part of the EU 2020 agenda for smart, sustainable and inclusive growth. The European Union, quite rightly, is putting increasing emphasis on IP, and today's conference is a good example of that.
My presentation, first of all, the implementation is completed in all possible areas of the unitary patent protection, the legal, financial, the technical, the organizational, and accompanying measures are taken at the EU level and at the national level. And as I've said, the entry into operation has never been so close. So there remain some steps to be done, and one of them, I will not repeat it, would be for Bulgaria to deposit their ratification instrument of the protocol on provisional application.
Patent Court is fully in line with the Bulgarian innovation strategy, and it's also fully in line with the slogan of the Bulgarian presidency, "United we stand strong."
Altogether, I should say, we hope for the better performance of the companies. We hope for the better allocation of funds by the Research Promotion Agency. And the last bullet point is very important to me. We hope to be seen as a partner, as a real partner, as somebody to talk to as a patent office, and not as a kind of black box. You know, you throw your innovation inside, then some months pass by, and then we come back with the answer, take it or leave it, it's patentable or not. Not this kind of a bit autistic, nerdy office, but a kind of real partner and consultant. I hope that we're going to reach this.
The conference topic is industrial property today and tomorrow. We think today is the unitary patent. That's the logical step that is taken right now for integration on EU level. And what still remains for tomorrow is this better integration or broadening of the business of IPOs to get more interlinkage with other areas of policy. Like, for instance, the two examples that we presented, the area of R&D and R&D funding.
We know they have two different origins. The agreement is an international treaty among member states. The patent protection is EU regulation, but the result of it is a system that, in our view, is workable, and we are comforted from a couple of opinions of the Court of Justice that is also legal. And what is needed from a business standpoint on such say, complicated process and system are these two elements, workable and in a legal framework. And we have both. So from an industry perspective, we are looking forward to see the system working.
Just completed the legal reform, but I've asked for the authorization, and I got the authorization to speak a little bit wider. And that is also because at a Commission level, after years of hard working, the legislative work at least is now over. We have just completed even the replacement package, which was all about making sure that secondary legislation was also adapted to the codified title.
The world of intellectual property, as we have heard here this morning many times, is certainly not an exception to this change. But quite on the contrary, I would say, it is an area which evolves more and more rapidly. And I like to believe that the change is positive, not only in itself, but also because it implies challenges, and this is what we are talking about here, or what we want.
This short presentation allowed me sort of to go back a little bit in history, to present the relationship between the Madrid Protocol and the unitary trademark system, maybe from a different angle, for once, to highlight one more time that the coming into existence of the unitary trademark system was a very, very important trigger for the development of the Madrid Protocol.
First of all, I would like to thank the Bulgarian Patent Office to have invited my office, the Spanish Patent and Trademark Office, to this conference, and of course to have organized such an important conference on the occasion of the presidency, the Bulgarian presidency. Thank you very much. Then I will talk about the challenges for national offices when implementing the new directive, and of course, as João said, in coexistence with the EU trademark.
Скъпи гости, както се казва, всяко хубаво нещо, пък и да не е хубаво, си има своя край. Надявам се това нещо, наречено конференция, което ние проведохме сега, да го отчетеме всички като нещо хубаво, нещо позитивно за всички нас. Затова използвам случая отново да ви благодаря за това, че бяхте важна част от тази конференция. И ако мога да използвам слогана на конференцията днес и утре, да си пожелаем и днес и утре всички ние да бъдем заедно, за да посветиме опита си и знанията си, които имаме в развитие на познанието и политиката за интелектуална собственост като цяло. Аз нямам съмнение, че днешната ни среща беше ползотворна за всички нас. Бих се радвал, ако в бъдеще имам отново възможността да бъда домакин, въобще нашата страна България да бъде домакин на подобна среща, за да можем да поставиме новите въпроси, които без никакво съмнение ще възникнат. Ако приемеме, че на този етап ние с днешната конференция даваме отговор на някои поставени наболели въпроси, без разбира се да ги решаваме веднъж завинаги, защото няма съмнение, че интелектуалната собственост е материя, която постоянно се развива и това би трябвало да ни мотивира по-често да се срещаме, да обсъждаме идеи, политики, за да бъдем полезни с това, което знаеме за индустриалната собственост като цяло. Мога да кажа, че перспективите пред индустриалната собственост в Европа и в света, бих казал, са от глобално значение за всички нас като граждани и потребители. И съответно нашата отговорност, такава чувствам и моята лично, разбира се, да осигурим на поколенията след нас един по-добър и по-модерен свят за живеене с повече удобства във всеки един бъдещ ден в сравнение с изминалия. Обстоятелство, което според мен без никакво съмнение сме направили като съществен принос с конференцията, която проведохме днес. Благодаря ви отново на всички вас, благодаря на нашите специални гости в сутрешната сесия, благодаря на всички лектори в сутрешната и следобедната сесия, благодаря на нашите модератори, благодаря на моите колеги от Патентно ведомство за това, че успяха със своята помощ да подсигурят провеждането на тази конференция. Пожелавам ви много здраве, много късмет, надявам се скоро да се видим. Довиждане и до нови срещи. Благодаря ви отново. Join us please for the family photo.